on to Take a TO with Coaches Turner and O'Neill. Produced by Kurtis Cross and engineered by DJ Krissy.
It's time to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. Your new favorite podcast features conversation from the world of high school, college, and pro sports, along with other riveting content. Connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Turner O'Neill Podcast and at Turn On Podcast, or visit www.turnerando'neill.com. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, and more than 15 podcast platforms. We also invite you into the studio each week via YouTube. Subscribe and watch each episode on our YouTube channel at Turner O'Neill Podcast. Thanks to our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, and Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. Our sponsors, O'Neill Development, LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, and Peace Players International. And our donors, Winsight Media, Gene the Barber, Body and Beyond Wellness, and Justin O'Neill. Take a TO with Coach Turner and O'Neill is produced by Kurtis Cross and engineered by me, DJ Krissy. Now we welcome you to today's episode as we take a TO with coaches Steve Turner and Casey O'Neill. Here's your host, Kurtis Cross.
Yes, we are back. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. I am Kurtis Cross, your host, and with me as always is Coach Steve Turner and Coach Casey O'Neill. Our engineer is DJ Krissy, and together we welcome you into the studio for this week's episode. This is Season 2, and we are excited to be back in the studio in front of these mics and broadcasting to you, our listeners and viewers. Steve, you dropped a nugget of information before the episode, which is not fair to do. That little thing you told us when things get back to normal, blah, blah, blah. Well, let me drop my nugget. I'd like to start Season 2 off with late breaking news. Actually, I've known it for like 10 days, but I didn't tell you guys. Maybe because you didn't text me and say Happy New Year's, little brother. But during our couple of weeks off, as you know, we didn't record as we retooled for today in what is now Season 2. Part of that process includes studio production, acquiring Season 2 guests, writing episodes, and so forth. Well, I am pleased to announce that as we start off Season 2, we have a premier partner. Our premier partner for Season 2 is Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Ray is a friend of the program, and he is the only mortgage lender we endorse right here at Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. I'm excited for this premier partnership, and as we move through Season 2, we will announce some excellent incentives and reasons for our listening audience and viewing audience to do business with Ray. Ray Cruz is Mortgage Intelligently. Now, we'd like to thank our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, and the Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. This week, we go to the gridiron with a DMV coach who has graduated more than 200 student athletes into college athletics. The starting five returns, and we have plenty of college and pro sports to discuss. But first, fellas, tell me about your break.
Oh, man. I'm I'm lost for words with what you just told us.
I know.
Ray Cruz, I love you. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. That was an unbelievable surprise.
Premier partner.
That is unbelievable. Thank you, Ray.
But weekend, it was great. I mean, it's the holidays are always great. Been time to just spend.
We know you
with the family, but just getting some good family time in, and getting my head back in it. I guess to get back into the race of school and work as we get back in the office this week.
Can we share your surprise from Christmas?
Yeah, definitely.
You were all smiles. Tell the people why.
My oldest came into town and surprised me for the holidays. And it was funny because I had a couple conversations prior to Christmas with some good friends. Ed Donlin, who's a colleague of ours, kept asking me, hey, is Christian coming in and you're going to be able to get to see him? I was like, nah, he's working. It would probably be too much for him to have to quarantine and then try to get back to work. Right. So I just don't expect it. And I'm all boxing up gifts to ship to him. And I could say the only thing that probably sucked about him being here was that he didn't have his gifts to open like
his
everybody else.
That way.
So it was already going to him. But at least he had a good nice surprise for himself when he got home.
That's right. Waiting for him.
And there's a picture on Instagram and Facebook you put up with you. The biggest smile I ever seen.
Yeah. It's one of the best presents ever.
Yes.
That was definitely one of the best presents ever.
Coach O'Neill, talk to us.
You know what? All things considered, great Christmas, great New Year. It was great to have Cole back. We had Cole extended time.
Yeah,
we did have to say goodbye to him. He's headed back to college, so that's why I've been a little bit down today. Man. But that's part of life. That is part of life. What was interesting is last Monday night, Eric and I were having a discussion, and it was the first time in 26 weeks that we hadn't been together.
Wow.
Yep.
And
for a Monday night dinner, right?
For a Monday, yeah. For some, and so it was a little bit odd, but it's game day today. Woke up ready to record, and had a good Christmas. Santa came. Claire was the most excited. We have a big announcement in the O'Neill household.
Yes, you do.
Big announcement. While we couldn't have this four-legged creature, Santa just couldn't do that. It's just too many stops. There was a picture of one in February. The O'Neills will have a dog.
Yes,
awesome.
you will. And I've seen that
have
thing.
A dog.
Born to parents who are like huge.
Yeah. It is a German Shepherd rescue farm. They also rescue these horses. It's unbelievable. We drove out there. It's in the kind of out in the country, acres, and we met the dad, who is a 140-pound German Shepherd. His name's Aslan. And Lily, the mom, is a beautiful shepherd. And so these babies they got to be with their mom, and then end of February we will bring our little puppy home.
Congrats.
You won't say little for long. You won't be saying little.
She won't. But everybody's super excited about it. We might even try to find a way to get Cole back so that he can meet this dog before he comes back from college and the dog is taking over his room. It's like, no, sir.
So what I heard out of all that is you got to see what a Monday night dinner feels like for the first time in 6 months, right?
It was nice. A lot of family time. We've had a lot of family time over the past few months, but I'm excited to be back in the studio with you guys. So,
DJ Krissy, tell us about, not the weekend, tell us about your break. You've been gone from the mic for 2 weeks. Talk to the people.
Just kind of hung out, really. I mean, there's not much we can do kind of with the whole situation with COVID and everything, but, and taking advantage of all of that and doing a couple home projects and, New Year's Eve and celebrated Christmas.
And New Year's Eve was celebrated right here in this room.
Yeah.
It was right here in this room.
If you look up, there's still confetti on the ceiling fan from those confetti cannons.
That was supposed to be a surprise.
Oh, well, if you pull the
Some
chain.
champagne, hit the
Can
ceiling.
you pull the cord?
She wants you to, pull the middle cord there.
This is the surprise for the second season. Other one.
Oh, yeah, I said the middle one.
There you go.
And here it comes.
Yay!
Let's go.
The surprise for season 2.
Season 2. Here we go.
All right.
Love it.
Well,
I mean, it was supposed to be a surprise. There you go.
So let me tell
Like a
you,
little confetti cannon.
Steve, I texted this to you, but my mini break was great. Christmas was great, and all was well until yesterday. Krissy doesn't even know this. We are setting up our Sunday. Don't have to wake up super early, but at noon, we're going to head to the carryout, pick up some wings, subs, Chinese, right? Easy enough. Not a chance. Tell me, what carryout is closed on a Sunday during football season? Can you just tell me that? Who's closed on a football Sunday? Because we found the one that was closed, the one we wanted to go to. So Paula goes to call in the order. There's no answer. I look up the spot, and plain as day, the spot is closed on Sundays. Makes no sense to us, so then we go to our backup spot. Easy enough, right? No. Nope. The spot, a carryout, they don't do cheesesteak. Who doesn't do a cheesesteak? You're a carryout. Who doesn't do a cheesesteak? So we have to go to our third spot. We get the cheesesteak, and subsequently, we were late getting back home to catch the Bills. So that was my Sunday.
And the Bills did some damage.
They did a whole lot of damage.
I didn't think they needed those last couple scores, but
no.
They're throwing the ball. A 50-yard touchdown, you're up by 30 already.
Hey, so real quick, I had that same itch yesterday.
Okay.
Instead of a cheesesteak, I wanted a chicken cheesesteak.
Right.
But Erica wanted a cheesesteak. And when we're not recording or off air, I'd like to see if it's the same spot because I called this place 3 or 4 times, around 12, right?
Right.
Nothing. No answer. Finally just went on and looked and closed Sunday. It was a hot spot, too. I'd like to see if it's the same one.
We will see if it's the same spot.
I don't think it's the same spot.
I don't think it is either, but we'll find out because you know where I was going, down to Cone Park. Mm-hmm. I was going, and they're closed on Sundays. Then I come back up this way, and the place we get, the kids get their Chinese, Paula gets her Chinese. They don't have cheesesteaks, so I have to go up to Wheaton, and then I can get my cheesesteak.
So I also had a similar experience, not with a cheesesteak. We ended up not getting. We went California tortilla yesterday. Fine, I folded, went down there, but I was looking for firewood yesterday. I was looking for firewood because I wanted to watch it with the Washington football team on Sunday night. I went to 5 different grocery stores, drove by every 7-Eleven within the zip code, couldn't find it.
Come up here.
So I said,
right on the corner. They got all the way you want.
Come up by me, Country Boy.
Well, I should have.
Country Boy always got it.
Country Boy always got it.
Yeah.
Country Road.
Country Boy.
Country Boy.
Yeah, they always got it.
You be my firewood dealer. You know a guy.
Country Boy. Always.
So go to his spot.
Always.
Or
Matter of fact, they're my spot for whenever we haven't had any. We had a little bit this year. The snow. Always have salt. I've never.
Yeah, Country Boy's got whatever.
They've got everything you need.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a plug.
And right here on the corner, Connecticut and Pliers Mill, it used to be a gas station. Now they have mounds of wood that'll fill this room up.
They sell Christmas trees on that.
Yeah, all that. So go to his spot or my spot and you're good. Anyway, that is segment 1. Let's hit our first break and we will be back with this week's headline.
Next Level Lacrosse. Train like a Spartan. Next Level Lacrosse is dedicated to providing a terrific lacrosse experience that is intensely focused on player development and character formation. Players at all levels will improve significantly through professional coaching and carefully designed training programs. We stress proper technique and a tireless work ethic. From beginning programs to rec leagues, travel clubs to summer programs, we develop the young and experienced players alike. Next Level Lacrosse has a rich tradition of running the best middle and high school lacrosse leagues in the DMV area. You'll find us at www.nextlevelspartans.com or call 240-497-1460.
Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill can be found on more than 15 podcast platforms. Listen to us on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, Spotify, and other popular podcast platforms. Tune in on your preferred podcast platform. Be sure to listen, subscribe, and spread the word. Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill records weekly with episode drops each Thursday at 11 a.m.
One Headline is brought to you by
Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. With a stellar reputation as an outstanding mortgage lender, Ray Cruz serves the lending needs of real estate professionals, builders, and individual home buyers in Maryland, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Texas, California, Florida, Illinois, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Ray believes that integrity is the cornerstone of his business, and helping you achieve your home financing goals is his business. Located in the heart of Bethesda, Maryland, contact Ray P. Cruz today to get started. Your home mortgage or refinance options await. Call 301-761-2278 or visit raypcruz.com. Ray P. Cruz, mortgages intelligently.
portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill.
Welcome back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. Today's episode is brought to you by our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Mortgage intelligently. This week's headline, the NFL regular season is now complete. Who needs a tweak? Who needs a good bit of help? And who needs a complete overhaul? Coach Casey.
It's a tough question. And I think a few of the teams that need a little help are, at least one of them is in the playoffs. So when I read this, I think the Steelers need a little bit of a tweak.
Okay.
And the reason is because I think this is either his final season or maybe one more, but they're squeaking out some wins the last couple weeks. And if they want to continue to stay on top like they usually are, because I love the coach, it's not him, he's incredible. They need a little bit of tweak. I don't know where it is.
But they lost 4 out of the last 5.
Yeah, and that's a dangerous game coming up, and I know we're going to discuss that later.
Yeah.
Overhaul, pretty simple.
Or 3 out of the last 4, I'm sorry.
Lions, Falcons, Jets, even though Matt Ryan's down there, and Jags. Those teams need the overhaul.
Complete overhaul.
And then a good bit of help. People might not agree. I think the Vikings, Raiders, Panthers.
Hold on, let's go back to the complete overhaul. When you say complete overhaul, are you talking everyone in the front office turning your iPad overhaul?
No, but I mean, the question leaves itself to
Like they're deactivating the key
they
card?
need a
We don't
lot
want
of
you
help.
back.
They just need a lot of help. I mean, how long has it been like that for the Jets, the Jags, and even the Lions?
Right.
How long has it been that way? I mean, Matthew Stafford's had a long career there. He's going to be moving on. They're going to need an
Has he
overhaul.
ever had a defense, though?
No, but I still don't think that they're. I put him in the category of maybe that second or third tier of quarterback. He's not Mahomes.
Right.
He's not Brady. He's not Aaron Rodgers, who is
Ridiculous.
unbelievable. You know, he's just always been just a nice quarterback that could kind of get them where they needed to be, but just they never got there. They never got where they needed to be.
Coach Turner, I'm sorry.
No, so I also think the Panthers is another one, and the Pats. The Pats are not an overhaul, just some tweak in there. So,
All right. Coach Turner.
I'm going to start with the overhaul because it's pretty obvious.
Right.
Those bottom feeders, guys were getting picks 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Right. Not because of a trade, but because they earned
They earned it. They earned it.
Right.
You know, when I say, you know, I was going to go with Pittsburgh, too, with tweaks.
just a tweak.
But I would say, for me, the tweak is the NFC East. And I say that only in that
the whole thing.
the whole thing. And I only say that because I think you have teams in that division that are only a few players away from being to truly being back in the thick of things.
Okay.
Eagles and Giants
and
and Dallas.
for it to be
All
back
of
to
them.
the NFC East that we know and love.
It's close.
Right.
It's close. So to me, that's
A tweak.
That's where I would go with tweaks. And they need some pieces, but I don't think overhaul. So that's why I'm going to use tweaks. Pittsburgh's got something funny going on. Even watching ESPN last night and to see Mike Tomlinson have to turn around and chastise two grown-ass men who are getting into it with each other on the sideline in the middle of the game. Two offensive linemen.
As we're rolling into the playoffs,
We're
right?
rolling into the playoffs. Like, don't piss this thing away.
Right.
Because I think they're pretty good. And
They're very good, but
and they something happened in that second half of the season. We were talking about them, man. They got it going, and then they took that one loss, and then all of a sudden,
it happened before Washington came in there and surprised them.
Yes.
and beat
Because
them.
Baltimore damn near showed you the blueprint, right?
Sure. And they were banged up. Baltimore was banged up
You
when
know,
they did that too. Yeah,
they better watch.
I agree with you on that.
They better watch. They better watch out
on that NFC East. Eagles, Giants, just a few pieces. Washington, obviously, on the offensive end needs a few pieces, but and Dallas too. Dak comes back, and
It's a different story if Dak is playing, right?
I think you get everybody healthy in that division with a couple new pieces. You're gonna see the best division back in place.
But somehow, some way, the NFL had 17 weeks of football, and here we are.
And then that
I never thought it would happen.
And they said it the other night on the broadcast. They're like, I didn't think we'd be here.
my other tweak team, because I liked what they had going on this year. Miami. We got to get the young fella.
You were high on Miami.
Absolutely. I think they're doing it the right. They're doing it the right way.
They're definitely doing it the right way. We just got to get Tua
the Jets,
comfortable
the Jags, and others do
playing
too.
on the road. He struggles on the road,
Yeah, young man.
and I'm afraid that when the fans get back, that could be ugly.
Right. Okay. Well, they the Steelers are interesting. You mentioned, if everyone's healthy, the NFC East, did you see the stat, had 11 or 12 different starting quarterbacks this season?
Right.
And does that come back? Remember, they're treating him as a franchise guy on one-offs, right?
Was he on the?
He hasn't been signed for long-term yet.
I'd take him in Washington in a heartbeat.
I would too. That's why I hinted at that.
Or Deshaun Watson.
I would take Matt Stafford.
Take them Texas quarter.
I would take Matt Stafford because, like I said, he hasn't played with a good defense. So I wonder. I wonder. Anyway, so that is your one headline.
Since 1939, the Collins family has served families of Montgomery County and Greater Washington with dignified professional service in their time of need. We continue the same family tradition today at our funeral home located just off the Beltway in Silver Spring, Maryland. Our family of experienced funeral directors stand ready to assist you around the clock, 365 days a year. Whether you wish to pre-plan or you have experienced a loss, please contact us to discuss how we can assist you at your time of need. Call 301-593-9500 or visit collinsfuneralhome.com.
Take It to You with Turner and O'Neill would like to thank our friends of the program. Shane Benson, Todd Bradley, Paula Cross, Susan and Brendan O'Neill Sr., Daniel Richard, Noah Richard, Andrea Terrones. If you would like to become a friend of the program, go to www.turnerando'neill.com and click Become a Friend. The Starting Five.
The Starting Five is brought to you by the Tamara Cusick Team. Ready, set, sold. Real estate is more than just houses. It's about people, too. The Tamara Cusick Team offers an all-inclusive approach, making the home buying and selling process efficient, financially smart, and stress-free for you. From home prep-up to complimentary staging, expert counsel to an experienced and qualified team of professionals, let's chat houses. The Tamara Cusick Team isn't just a partner. They literally sold us the home where the Take It To You broadcasts from each week. Visit www.tamara4homes, that's the number 4.com, or call 301-780-4663.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill. Welcome back to Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill. I am your host, Kurtis Cross, and I am with Coach Steve Turner and Casey O'Neill. Of course, our engineer is DJ Krissy. We are up to our weekly Starting Five. 5 questions asked of each coach. They've never heard these questions, and they each have 30 seconds to answer them. If they go over their 30 seconds, DJ Krissy, what will happen? That's the bell hasn't changed. We're in a new season.
It's a new season, so maybe Steve will get some bells.
I mean, maybe he won't. He knows
maybe
how to
he'll go first.
He knows how to go ahead and, answer the questions. So let's get started. We'll start with Coach Turner because you want it that way. Current NFL playoff format, or shall we rank the teams according to their overall record? I say that because, of course, you have a 7-9 Washington who's getting in, and number 1, Tampa travels to them, but you have 10-win teams who have not gotten in. What do you think?
I'm staying with the format.
All right. You want that division winner in.
Division winner in.
So then I ask, so you could have potentially had a 6-win team get in over a 10-win team.
So what?
All right. That's your 30 seconds or less answer.
Clearly,
Coach O'Neill.
you need to look at things in life. Are they working? Broken? Do they need to be fixed? I love the NFL playoffs, and I love it even more that they added the 7th team, so we get those 3 games on Saturday and Sunday.
But
right? I'm a big believer in those divisions. I mean, you're not changing that, so I'm with Coach. Keep it.
All right. Coach O'Neill, what is it that you want to leave this world with?
Wow. What do I want to leave this world with?
Some Long Johns? You cold, man? You cold there?
I think when I have to, I want to leave knowing that my children and wife know how much I truly love them. That's why I folded my arms, because I got to
get serious
myself so I didn't, a little tear come down.
All right, no problem, little brother. Coach Turner, what do you want to leave this world with?
There's a lot of things in that.
Well, go for it.
It's a big. That's a wide open question there. I mean,
it says Turner and O'Neill on the marquee, right? Part of this is your show. Go for it.
I mean, certainly, I definitely have to agree with Casey. Wanting them to know, wife and kids, definitely how much I love them, and hopefully leading in my chair by example, that I did it the right way. Certainly made some mistakes, I'm sure, along the way, but them trusting and believing that everything I've ever done in life has been for them. In my position as a coach, just wanting to make sure that I've shown every single kid that I've cared about them and tried to put them in the best light to have the best opportunity afforded to them by using the game of basketball and taking care of business in the classroom.
I was seriously engrossed in the story, and that ding caught me. All right, we're going to come right back.
But real quick, it's like, what do you want on your headstone? Keith used to tell me this. Do you want it to say he won 12 championships and 200 wins?
No, he doesn't want that.
Right, you don't want that. was a great father, good man, loved all, and just worked his ass off.
That's it.
So when I left coaching, I wrote an email to some people. You probably got the email. I found it the other day, by the way. And I said, when my time is done on this earth, I don't want to be known as a DJ or a coach. I want to be known as a son, a brother, a friend, a father. That's what I want to be known as. So I would think that somewhere we're going to celebrate all of your coaching success if I'm here when you're gone. But the person he is, the person you are, because I'm going to see some of your success.
Let's go.
When this whole thing is over, I got to see some.
But one other thing, you'd be known as a buckaroo in your.
Well, that's together. We're getting matching headstones for that one.
Where are your badges?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot to text you.
Where are y'all's badges?
Don't worry about it. Maybe we're getting them shined up. Maybe we're getting them shined up for our presentation. We have to polish them first. Mine was a little, what do you call it? Tarnished. So, so I'm going to come back here. What is the story behind the longest you've ever gone without sleep? And I'm going to give more than 30 seconds on that.
What's the story behind the longest I've ever gone without it?
So if you stayed up for 2 days straight, we want to know why.
Parenthood.
Babies.
I'm probably just simple as the stresses of the world.
Okay. All right. No college all-nighters you can remember?
Nah, I mean, had some of those, but they weren't, I was having fun.
Right. So there's your story.
But I mean, for something serious and just the basic stresses of the world, for me, it's I want to be known as the best dad, best husband I can be. So when I feel like there are things that are weighing me down, that could keep me up.
Okay.
Yeah, this one is not for the podcast, but it has a fraternity pledging.
Okay, all right. I got you. We can keep it right there.
A week of
not
much sleep.
Let the audience think what they want.
Not heaven, but the other thing.
All right. Hell week. All right, we're going to come back to you, sir. I'm glad you got this one first.
Uh-oh.
You're stranded on an island.
Oh, here we go.
Name your wife's family member you'd least want to be stranded with. Boom. It's season 2, brother. Let's go.
Well, it's season 2. I haven't used my defer.
Oh, snap. For my wife, it would be her brother. I don't want to be on the island with him. So you deferring?
Okay, no, I'll answer this. So I would probably say her brother, Drew, and I love all of them, but Drew would be, so he's a dentist.
Okay.
And he'd be, check in and trying to make sure everything's fine and checking my mouth and, we got to solve this. So Drew, sorry, buddy, up there, he's up in Detroit.
All right.
Because the other one, Chad, he's handy. He'll build us like this. I mean, complete,
So if I get there, it's going to be like a tiki bar there.
Yeah, he's going to set it up. Very, very resourceful.
So Coach Turner, name your wife's family member who you would least want to be stranded with on that island. I don't want to get you in no trouble.
It's a hard question because I have to be brutally honest. We don't spend a lot of time with her family. So
Does she have any pets maybe on her side of the family that you could?
No.
All right, so name a person you would not want to spend that time with. Someone you do know, though. Can't be like...
I'm going to answer the question. I'm going to need longer. I'm going to get dinged on this one, so.
Let's just go ahead and hit it. All right, so he's going past his ding.
Damn, that's a tough one.
You know what? Krissy, who would you least want to be stranded with out of our circle? Krissy's family to me. So in my circle, your circle, Paula's circle, who would you not want to be stranded on that island with? Come on, Chris. We're going to put you on the hot seat.
Oh, she's dropping the script.
I mean, she's dropping scripts.
You got everybody.
She's shook up in this joint.
I'm not even going to get the script. I love all. I don't know.
Chris, you're not telling the truth on that one.
I don't really have an
They don't
answer.
have them. You
Have
stumped
I
them.
stumped them?
You stumped them. And then, of
season-
course, I'm going to be the one on. We're going to be the one on record that called people out.
And I'm not
what
afraid.
is
You know me.
wrong?
I'm not afraid to call
No,
anybody out.
Right,
But
no, you're
not.
Like we don't spend. I don't spend enough time.
Okay,
with
who
her
in your family?
Ooh.
in my own family?
Yeah.
I like my damn family.
Right? usually people answer, because I've asked this in game shows before, the person who talks too much or the person, that kind of thing.
Well, if I went back, she's going to kill me. But if I went back, no, I can't say this.
Uh-oh. All right.
Oh, man. Oh, God.
Can I get a round of applause for stumping Steve and Krissy?
Well, I mean, if we're talking my family, I can answer that.
Go for it. Who out of your family do you not want to be stuck on an island with? I know who. Go ahead.
You know?
The aunt?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know her name.
Carol.
Aunt Carol. I know about
Carol.
I had to get on the phone with Aunt Carol once, I think, or something like that. Yeah, Aunt Carol's she's a handful. She's a piece of work. She's a piece of work.
She's a super fun lady.
At an island?
You got me, Coach.
I got you.
Because if we were on an island together, it would not be pretty.
Well, only one person's coming off that island. They ain't both making it off that island. Krissy and Aunt Carol. No, sir.
It's the old, there's like a tiger on the island. I just don't have to outrun the tiger. I have to outrun my aunt.
I don't know what happened. I was sleeping. The tiger got to my aunt. I don't know what happened.
Oh, wow.
All right, well, let's try this one. We're going to go back here. Cameo is an app whereby you can have a celebrity send a message, short video, and so forth and so on to someone. Who would you choose to send the Cameo to, and what celebrity would you choose for that person?
I'm going to go with J-Rock. He actually got to do FaceTime with this person, but I would still go with this person.
Okay.
Lil Uzi Vert.
Oh, okay. All right. You would do that. All right.
Wow, this is...
And I thought about this because several years ago for Christmas or our anniversary, I got Brian McKnight to sing to Paula. And I'll have to show that to y'all sometime.
You know what? I'll go with my daughter, Chloe.
Okay.
I would have Taylor Swift.
Oh, you would blow her mind.
I would have Taylor Swift sing to her, say hello, talk to her. I think, love to see the smile on that.
That would be your Cameo.
Face. There you go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is your starting five. The starting five.
A Squared Home and Office Solutions is the go-to source for home or office network and audiovisual solutions. We can help with smart home integration, wireless networking, media rooms, security systems, and more. We will link technology to your lifestyle seamlessly. Visit homeandofficesolutions.com for more info.
Take a deal with Turner & O'Neill. We'd like to thank our partners, sponsors, and donors. Our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, and Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. Our sponsors, O'Neill Development, LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, and Peace Players International. Our donors, Winsight Media, Gene the Barber, and Body and Beyond Wellness.
This segment of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is sponsored by...
From Washington, D.C. to Ocean City, Woodbridge to Columbia, Richmond to Virginia Beach, the hottest DJs are right here. The Mid-Atlantic Professional DJ Association.
Current social distancing does not allow for event gatherings in the traditional sense. When it's time to plan your bar bat mitzvah, office party, Sweet 16, or any event, we've got your party solution. Dynamic DJ Entertainment is your virtual event experts. Our virtual events division has perfected an entertainment experience like none other. We bring the celebration to you. Contact us for virtual trivia, office parties, nightclub nights, or any event. Dynamic DJ Entertainment is your virtual event solution. Visit www.mapdja.com or call 301-942-4500.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill.
Ladies and gentlemen, our season's first guest has built a tremendous football program at Friendship Collegiate in Washington, D.C. In his 8 seasons as the head football coach, Mike Hunter and the Knights have amassed 3 DCSAA championships. Coach Hunter has also been named the 2016 and 2018 NFHS Football Coach of the Year, along with the DCSAA Football Coach of the Year in 2019. In his tenure, Coach Hunter has seen more than 240 of his student athletes go on to play college sports. In addition to coaching, Hunter serves as the Director of Athletics for Friendship Public Charter Schools. Here to take a CO with us today, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Friendship Collegiate head football coach, Mr. Mike Hunter. Coach, how's it going today?
Going pretty good, man. How you guys doing today?
We are doing well. Gentlemen, please welcome Coach Hunter.
Mike, Casey O'Neill here, old football teammates back in the mid-'90s. How are you, my friend?
Doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. Good to be on with you, man. Miss those days.
Big time. Big time. Getting old.
Mike, Steve Turner here, man. Appreciate you taking your time to come out, hang out with us on the podcast today. Looking forward to having some good discussion with you.
No problem, man. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Of course. Coach Hunter, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate your time and would like our listeners to get to know you and your program. So give us your elevator pitch. How would you describe your program and what you've been able to accomplish and where your sights are set?
The big thing about our program is, we want to educate our young men and the young women, because we've had a few young women that play football for us, on life after football. It's bigger than football with us. We preach family, and we really want our student athletes, once the ball stops bouncing or the air deflates out the football, that they have something concrete that they can carry on over in life. So that's probably our biggest pitch that we try to tell all of our kids.
Well, we appreciate you preparing them for life, not just the sport that they're playing. Coach O'Neill.
So, Mike, well, real quick, got to mention he was a heck of a football player at Catholic University as well himself, right, Mike, back in those days?
Did I leave that out?
No, well, the coaching bio is unbelievable, but Mike he's one of the best. So, real quick, as a coach, walk me through, you take over 8 years ago, how you gained the trust of not only the players but the families in your program at the beginning. What was kind of your first few things you did to kind of gain that trust that because you guys have been very successful, and then you step in, and is there anything that happened there?
It was mainly just always being honest and upfront with our families. A lot of people have high expectations when they come to our program, and being there for them outside of the game of football, whether that's helping a family, being there to talk through issues that their family may be going through, just building the trust off the field led to them trusting me on the field.
Mike, Steve here. I want you to expand a little bit on that. Kind of talk to us about when you took over, what you laid down as your core principles and the things that you wanted the kids who are in your program and the families in your program to believe in, exemplify on and off the field.
Well, the main thing was always being a lifelong learner, whether that's, again, in the classroom, being a good father, being a good husband, being a good man in the community, and then being tough, because we're always going to face adversity, whether that's, you're a dad or you're a husband and things go on at home in your personal life, you're normally the one who has to fix it because everyone's looking at you.
Right.
So, kind of no excuses. This is how we're going to handle adversity. This is how we're going to fix it. And being able to trust other people to help you in those, adverse times. You guys know all about the situation with the facilities that we had, but we never allowed our kids to make excuses for not having great facilities. And we're going to go out and we're going to put on, a great show on the game day.
And you've done that.
Absolutely.
That leads into my next question. The story of your program, we're not just talking about football. And, you know, when folks learn about Mike Hunter, he's the football coach. You're more than just that. You're the director of athletics. And as we know, any great coach has to be a father figure, a friend, has to be a mentor, has to be an ally. So we're talking about you making it your duty to support, educate, and show these young people in your program that there's more to football than just football. So where does that take you outside of those 100 yards, outside of that building, on the streets of Northeast Washington, D.C.? Where does that take you, and what do you find yourself doing to support those students outside of the walls of Friendship Collegiate?
Well, I knew at a young age I always wanted to help my community. You know, I'm a D.C. native. I knew I wanted to help my community. I just didn't know in what capacity. At one point, I thought I would be a teacher, a parole officer. I just knew it was something I wanted to be able to give back to our young people in our community because someone helped me.
Right.
And I was afforded an opportunity by Tom Clark when my college career was over to start coaching football. Never growing up did I ever think about being a coach. And probably until that moment, I never thought about being a coach. And probably 3 months into it, I still didn't think I was a coach. I was just a guy helping out, you know, the team that I just finished playing for. But, you know, with guys like Tom Clark and guys like Joe Rader and people who at Catholic and Gonzaga who helped me along the way, I knew that's what I wanted to be. So I just help my community in however I can. Football is just the carrot that I dangle in front of our young people to get them to trust me. But it's really about improving the community and, you know, helping everyone grow and become better citizens.
So, Mike, Casey again here. What advice? I want to continue to expand on this. So what advice would you have to other coaches and educators, not only in D.C., but around the country? And I'm talking about schools that are in the city, right, that don't, what you mentioned, don't have the facilities, that don't have the fields, to build and foster the school that you work at and the program you've built. What advice do you give to folks around the country that are working in the same kind of situations with city high schools and they don't have the facilities? You know, what's the mindset? What's the advice to those educators and coaches?
The first thing is to meet the kids where they are. You know, I mean, I think as coaches, sometimes we expect kids to come in and already be a finished product. You know, if that was the case, then I think it'll be a lot more people out here coaching and being successful.
Right.
But I think the real successful coaches, as both of you guys know, you have to meet the guys where they are. Not everyone is walking in the door as a 5-star or a big-time recruit, but it's your job to develop them on the court. And then when it comes to facilities, you know, just don't use that as an excuse. You got to be creative and innovative to find ways to get stuff done. When I started at Friendship, we had a weight room that was literally a classroom with 2 weight racks. So what we did was we just took what little weights we have, we would move them out in the hallway to create more space, you know, and things like that. So now we've expanded. We have 2 classrooms. So, and, you know, even on the practice field, you know, we didn't have lines or we didn't have hash marks and goal posts and things like that, but we just instilled in our kids that it was going to be a no excuse environment, and we're going to get the job done, and we're going to teach you the right way to play the game of football. And then when we get on these nice turf fields or wherever we're playing at, like, this is going to be a bonus for you.
And finally, after all these years, I see the pictures of the new field you guys got. It might be the nicest in the city, and it's about time. Looks amazing. Yeah,
I'm really excited about it, and I'm probably like a kid on Christmas Eve every day. Like every day I go to the school and to my office, I probably go out and walk on the field.
That's awesome.
Like it didn't change from Friday, but I still went out there today and walked on the field just because it's like I got to pinch myself and like, is this a long dream that's finally come true? And, you know, I'm excited not only for myself, but I'm really excited for the kids but you would be surprised how many alumni have
Right.
called, and they're excited to come back to a game at the new field.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Mike, you know, we talk about as coaches and mentors and people probably always ask us what are the life lessons we teach the kids. In your coaching experience, I think you probably found out, and I'm sure Casey feels the same way, and I certainly do, and that's why I'm asking you this question. What's the life lesson you've learned from maybe one of your players that you'll never forget?
Probably the biggest thing for me is understanding. When I first got to Friendship, I was coming from the college ranks, so it was, look, either the kid did or he didn't, and if he's not doing, let's move on to the next person.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in high school, it was more about developing the young man, and not just the athlete, but developing the young man and understanding and trying to, or better understand where they're coming from. Because not everyone's environment is the same outside of the school. So you got to kind of meet the kids where they are. Some kids have great families. They're very supportive. Some kids I deal with, they don't have any parental support or any family support. So I can't treat those two kids the same in every aspect. Where, one kid, he may be late because he had to take care of his little brother or little sister. Where another kid is just late because he's goofing off. So it's not, every crime doesn't fit the same, or every punishment doesn't fit the crime.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Understanding. Wow. I'm just going to go. I have a question for you, but I hope when you walk on that field each day that you can take a little bit of a moment to be proud of what you've brought to that community and that school, because that is your work. That is your work on, I haven't been there, so either on the turf or the grass, those lines, those end zones.
Turf.
It's a brand new, beautiful turf field.
that is your work there. And if you're like me, and I bet you are, when you're no longer at Friendship Collegiate, there are people who will benefit from your work there. So I hope you can just take a moment to be proud of that. So on the football side of things, we've seen programs reach success with impressive win-loss records. I've seen basketball teams get 25 wins, but when you look at their schedule real quick, it reveals that 23 of those wins came at the hands of a much lesser opponent. We don't see that with Friendship Collegiate. On your schedule, I see teams like Gonzaga or DeMatha, Good Counsel, teams that are out of state, along with your DC schedule. So besides great coaching, which we know it is, what are you doing to prep your players for that competition and that big-time stage that you've clearly taken to or chosen to take on?
So the athletic program at Friendship was started for one reason and one reason only: to give kids access to college financing. That's the only reason we were allowed to start athletics. It was not started to win championships. It was not started to pile up a bunch of wins. So our philosophy was, in the beginning, if we want to have our kids get noticed by college coaches, we have to play against the best talent.
There you go.
As the coaches on the call, they know if you're just playing a bunch of teams to pile up wins to make your record look good, the college coaches are going to come in and say, well, kid looks good, but who's he playing against?
There you go.
They don't have those questions with us, because when they come in, they've already gone to see Coach T at Gonzaga or Coach McGregor at DeMatha, and the same way our guys are going to be on their highlight tape, their guys are going to be on our highlight tape.
Love it.
And, I think it speaks to the competition that our kids are playing. And, again, we're preparing them for the next level.
Well, that's so very important because, we know schools that have come and gone who pile up 33-1 records and have, their star players dropping 42 a game, but who are you playing? You're playing in someone's basement,
Right.
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 So, Mike, Casey,
and
go ahead. Sorry.
And I was going to say, in the recruiting game now, very few coaches ever ask, how many yards did he rush for, or how many catches did he have? It's more, can he play against the top competition? So, I try to tell our kids, while stats are great, it's more about who you're playing with. So I'd rather a wide receiver have 75 yards playing against DeMatha or Good Counsel, as opposed to having 200 yards playing against, whoever the 0-10 team is for that year.
Right.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. All right, I got to talk a little bit about something. So if you see a picture of Mike today and what he looked like in high school, it looks the same. You haven't aged a bit, by the way, Mike. But you've always had
just lost a little bit of hair, but
you said it. I didn't say anything. But you've always had this calm and cool demeanor about you, and I remember that way back when, even the early '90s when we were at school together. But what is it that fires you up? Because I know when you get in that locker room and you're on that sideline or in your practice, like what is it that where you flip that switch? And I'm sure it was just competing and playing football, your whole life, but is there something that triggers in you that fire?
Just competition. I'm a competitor, so I compete at everything. Even with our kids, and they're way more athletic than I ever was, but I'll still get out and race them, and I'll cheat, of course, to try to beat a couple of them. But just the competitive nature of anything. Like if we're sitting in the gym and someone rolls out a basketball, we're gonna shoot until I win. So just that fires me up as the competitive nature, and I just want to see people succeed in life, really. So anytime I get an opportunity to help someone do that, I'm gonna be excited about it, and that's what's gonna get me going.
I love it.
Mike, every coach has that one team or that other coach. I like to say iron sharpens iron.
Right.
Who is it every year on the schedule that gets you jacked up, ready to go, that you want you like it's you probably sometimes I feel like we almost get caught into overcoaching because we want to beat this team or that coach so bad. Who does that for you?
So he's circling that date.
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, he made the call first because he wants to put them on the calendar.
Right.
Who is that coach and who is that team?
It's not really a coach, but it's more of a league, and it's the WCAC.
I knew it.
Let's go.
The WCAC has created an environment where, they're the top dogs. I mean, let's just keep it real with what it is. They're the top dogs in just about every sport. So, me trying to convince kids or families to come to our schools, that's who I have to beat. So I want to schedule DeMatha. I want to schedule St. John's, Good Counsel, and, McNamara and Gonzaga, because I want to show that we can compete with those teams.
Love it.
So, and it's because I love what they do and I respect what they do that, I want to beat those teams, and I don't take that lightly. So.
Mike, I got your final question here, Steve again. And, at the end of our podcast every podcast episode, one of us gives a quote of the show. And wanted to know if you have a quote that you live by, that might be a scripture from the Bible, might be a quote from a book you've read, something that stands tall and true to who you are as a person and what you're trying to do with these kids.
The quote, it's by Dorothy Heights, and I'm probably going to screw it up a little bit now, but the measure of a man is not when he's in a good moment, but when he goes through some obstacle is when you can measure the true test of a man.
I love it.
So I know that's not, the exact quote, but
I've got it for you, sir.
Something that
I'm going to back you up with the true measure of the man is not how he behaves in moments of comfort and convenience, but how he stands at times of controversy and challenges.
Yeah, exactly. There it is right there.
I like that. That's a good one, Mike.
Very good.
So Coach Turner lied to you. We have one more question. He said he had the final question.
Okay. I'm sorry.
He got one more. So we have something here called the starting five. I ask the coaches 5 questions, and they get 30 seconds to respond. Now, I'm only going to ask you one, but I'm going to put you on the hot seat for one of those questions. I'm going to go back to weeks before a question I asked. You get 30 seconds to answer this question, so here we go. You are starting your NFL franchise. Who are you going with?
Mm-hmm.
Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, Eric Dickerson, Emmitt Smith, or Jim Brown? You get to pick one.
Wow, that's tough.
Don't worry, you got 30 seconds. You got 30 seconds.
Oh, if you
I got 30 seconds.
if you don't do it, we're going to ding you.
All right.
So you don't want to get dinged.
All right, I'm going to start with Jim Brown. So I'm going to answer the question, Jim Brown.
You can tell us why.
Yeah. And obviously I didn't see him play live, but he just looked like he was a man amongst boys, and people almost were afraid to tackle him. Well, I think the other guys were great running backs, and, you know, they had their skill set, and they're all Hall of Famers. He just had an intimidation factor that I don't think those other guys had, at least not in my eyes.
And one of the best things about Jim Brown, at least from the sport I coach, he was an All-American lacrosse player at Syracuse University.
Yeah.
And
Lacrosse Hall of Fame, isn't he?
Speaking of men
Change
amongst
change
boys,
rules.
you
Change
didn't
rules in
wanna
that game.
He just run right through you. Love it. Great
Yes,
answer.
yes. Well, Coach, we thank you for taking the TO with us today. Please tell our audience how they can connect with you and your program through social media, your website. Talk to us.
Well, on social media, I am Coach Mike Hunter on Twitter, Instagram, as well as Facebook. Not real big on TikTok, so I won't use that one.
No worries.
And then for the team on Twitter is Friendship FB, and on Instagram is Friendship_football.
Well, Coach, I didn't say this yet, but thank you for doing what you do. We know we must support our young people. You are clearly driving a program, not just on the football side, but on the athletic side and everything. And I appreciate, most importantly, you're not teaching them how to win at a football career. You're teaching them how to win at life. So thank you for doing that for the young women and men of Friendship Collegiate. Ladies and gentlemen, Friendship Collegiate head football coach and director of athletics, Mr. Mike Hunter. Thanks, Mike.
Really
Mike,
appreciate
thank
it,
you.
man.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys.
At Peace Players, we use the power of sport to unite, educate, and inspire young people to create a more peaceful world. We offer sport programming, peace education, and leadership development to those living in communities in conflict. We challenge the hate that is driven by the fear of our differences. We bridge divides between people through the game of basketball, and we develop young leaders who help to change perceptions. Find out more at www.peaceplayers.org.
Body and Beyond Wellness is acupuncture and wellness consulting. Our peaceful oasis is nestled just outside the Washington, D.C. Beltway. Our acupuncture treatments, workshops, and other wellness offerings will have you feeling restored, renewed, and revived. A limited appointment schedule is now available, but you must call in advance to schedule. Call 301-758-7980 or visit www.thebodyandbeyond.com for more info.
Gene the Barber, located in downtown Silver Spring. Gene the Barber has been in the business of making you look good for more than 20 years. Kids cuts, adult cuts, men and women. Gene has the experience and style you're looking for. Contact Gene the Barber for an appointment by calling him direct, 240-687-7253. Our producer uses Gene the Barber, and he's available for your next barbershop visit as well. Call 240-687-7253 and tell him Turner and O'Neill sent you.
Building your brand is an important part of your business growth. By advertising with Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill, you'll gain the exposure and brand recognition behind our podcast. In Season 1, we reached a total of more than 100,000 listeners, viewers, subscribers, and website visitors combined. Your company will benefit from our popularity online and during the podcast. Advertising with Turner and O'Neill equals exposure on Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, and more than 15 listening platforms total. Inquire today and let's partner to build your brand.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill.
We are back with Take a T.O. with Turner and O'Neill. Thanks for listening and watching as we enjoy meeting you here each week. Gentlemen, Coach Mike Hunter has clearly curated a program and culture at Friendship Collegiate, which promotes the student athlete to excel on the field, but also in life. That seems to be the mission and the vision of the successful coaches we've had here on the podcast. What you guys are coaches, what goes into that? Like, if you're doing it for the right reasons, I think that's your vision, right?
Absolutely.
Man.
He, in that interview, touched on so many different yet incredible moments for coaching. So as I took a few notes, hard work stood out, right? He's going to work hard. He's going to show up. And not only as the head football coach, but as the director of athletics. That's a lot to take on. I'm mentioning, when you asked about the quote, the adversity, right? Mm-hmm. We've said this on the podcast. The number one thing we teach kids when we're coaching is how to deal with adversity. C's are great and everything's cool. Everything's going your way. And then as soon as something, tough hits, you've got to adapt. He talked about adjusting, coaching each player, right? Because he talked about the one kid that might be taking his little brother to school, might be late, and the other kid that's goofing off, and how he's adapted as a coach and adjusting to each kid. And then my favorite part was when he mentioned, I asked him about what fired him up was his compete level. Mm-hmm. He's like, I just love to compete in anything. We could be in the gym. We could be out in the field. Mike doesn't get enough credit, and I hope and it will come for what he's done at Friendship Collegiate. And proud to say I was a high school teammate with him playing football. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
Cool.
Kids are lucky.
I mean, the two obvious for me were it's that, adversity is going to hit, and he talked about wanting his some of the characteristics of his young men and women to be tough. How do you handle the adversity? Do you sit back and out and cry, or my thing, fall down, get back up? He's more than a coach. I mean, you hear it in what he's talking about. We didn't talk a whole lot of football wins and losses. Right. We talked about the character of building young men and women. And then I just love the fact that for him, he found his why. We didn't ask him this, but he said it. He found his why. I want to come back and help my community.
And unbelievable answer. Talk about Friendship starting athletics, and there was one reason and one reason only, to get these kids the opportunity to get the college scholarships and to head off to the next level. And oh, damn, have they done that. We talk about over the 240 in his 8 years. That's incredible.
It's 30 athletes
unbelievable
per year coming out of that school that I'm guessing does not have the roster of students. Like their number of students isn't like a public school. I'm sure they don't have 2,000 kids, right?
I mean, it's probably for how many he's sent is probably what they have in the school.
Right. Okay.
So one of my favorite, last thing for me is you got chills when he was talking about that new field and that he's walking. Nobody's on campus today and he's just walking across that field. And as a coach, just those moments when you're on the field and you're so proud of something. And so just again, kudos to Coach Mike Hunter, and what an awesome guest.
751 kids as of 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you take 1/3 of that, basically, of today's class, or today's 9 through 12 is what they're sending. So they're doing it.
Yep.
They are absolutely doing it. So let's talk about that just a little bit more. So our listeners may have heard of so many different schools. Of course, you hear about the Gonzagas and DeMathis and St. John's. And, in soccer, I think it's the Heights, right, who does well in soccer, and St. John's does well in baseball. But he's putting his kids in those same circles.
Yes.
To be competitive.
Yep.
And again, you and I shared a laugh. I've seen schools where their student body is 100 kids, but they have a nationally ranked basketball program because whoever's ranking them is not really looking at their schedule. Right. They're just looking at wins and losses, and that kind of thing.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was curious if that was a jab at me.
No. I was thinking Princeton Country Day.
25.
I was thinking Princeton Country Day. That's exactly. I'll tell you what I was thinking. Princeton Country Day in Lanham, Maryland, which is no longer there. That wasn't the Crime Stopper, was it? No. Was that the Crime Stopper?
He was there for a minute.
Yeah, that's the school I'm talking about. That's exactly. No, not a jab at you. I was thinking Princeton Country Day about.
I said, where are we going? Season 2 is all about.
That was your record?
Throw the punch of the big brother?
Was that your record?
No.
Oh, but I'm not saying you.
I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
But to go back to what you're saying, people around the country listening to the podcast,
I mean, it's an unbelievable model for schools in Chicago, schools in Detroit, schools in New York City, Houston, wherever it is. The way that Mike's made it work and the community there. It's unbelievable the numbers they're putting up. And for me, you're damn right he wants to play.
Getting it done.
The WCC
Right, that's what I'm saying. So he's not shying away from those schools that might be tough. Like we had Dawn Brown here. She went in and played University of Arkansas proper or Baylor or someone. Are you serious? But how do you get better if you're not playing? You got to taste that butt whipping, right?
Right.
To come back and be hungrier for what you got to do.
I think it becomes important to the kids who want to play. That they want to play against the best. I mean, I don't care where you're at. Every kid wants to play, have his opportunity to go up against the best to see how they match up.
Friendship's bringing they're bringing a punch. They ain't
a whole lot more than a punch.
Right.
They're laying the wood.
Yes.
And they're being competitive. I looked at some of the scores. I looked at some of the box scores and all of that, and they're being competitive. I mean, they're not playing DeMath and losing 58 to 3. It's not that kind of game.
Some tight games, and they've beaten some teams.
I swear I saw one score on their schedule was 8-3. Someone they beat 8-3. So they squeak out some and they play some defense. But I'm glad to see that program is doing well. Thank you for bringing him into the podcast. I had heard about that school. I knew not much about that school, but a great season 2 first episode guest. So we are coming right back. And Krissy, please take us to break. O'Neill Development is a custom builder in Maryland, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and the Eastern Shore. Recognized nationally as a premier builder, O'Neill Development has received awards for historic restoration and urban infill work. Committed to best practices in green building, O'Neill Development also provides support in budgeting, architect selection, and design development during the critical stages of planning. O'Neill Development, building, remodeling, and development since 1975. Find us at www.o'neilldev.com or call 301-840-9310.
Become a friend of the program. Friendship contributions start at just $25. Each contribution helps to fuel Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. To find out more or make your contribution, go to www.turnerando'neill.com and click Become a Friend. Today's episode is sponsored by Ray P. Cruz, Mortgages Intelligently.
This segment of Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill is sponsored by Healthy Baller is dedicated to developing athletes at any level through customized programs created by their world-class trainers. Healthy Baller creates an unparalleled training experience centered around the athlete and coach relationship. Between their physical therapy team and strength and conditioning staff, they create an all-encompassing process to help injured athletes return to the field. For the young athlete, Healthy Baller is an excellent training and confidence builder. Paula and I personally know this as our children attend Healthy Baller twice each week. With Blair and Molly training our 12 and 10-year-olds, we can personally vouch for their expert training and dedication to each athlete. Call 844-622-5537 or visit healthyballer.com and tell them Kurtis and Paula sent you.
Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill.
Welcome back to Take a TO with Turner and O'Neill. This week's episode is brought to you by Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Let's jump into our weekly sports wrap-up. The annual day of the coaching exodus has begun. So far, Anthony Lynn of the Chargers, Doug Marrone of the Jaguars, and Adam Gase with the Jets are out. There are no surprises there. Do we expect more firings, and what's the future for those NFL teams?
So the day where coaches who make a ridiculous amount of money and are probably still on contract, right? So they get to go and enjoy a year off and still make that money.
Get paid out,
and then go be a coordinator with one of their boys. I don't know if there are, but I had a few kind of question marks around some guys. People in Philly are not happy with what Doug Peterson did this season.
That's in the script. Can you give me a chance to get there? Here you go again, jumping ahead.
You're asking, do we expect more firings?
Okay.
And I'm giving you my answer.
All right, go ahead, man.
And I know
go ahead. Go ahead, man.
Look at you look out the window.
You don't even have your sheriff's badge. I didn't want to talk about that. No holster.
it's all coming together for a big surprise.
Okay, Halloween's already passed.
But 2021 Halloween's coming up.
Oh boy,
We'll be recording.
I gotta stick with you that long. All right, what are you thinking?
So, I think he's safe, but him, McCarthy, and I've heard some rumblings about the gentleman in Arizona, Kingsbury.
Because they started off hot, and boy, they are on the outside looking in, right?
Yeah, and granted, the young quarterback was a little banged up, some injuries. He was injured yesterday.
Yeah.
But they're not happy with the way that's gone the last 2 years. But I think all three of those guys that I just mentioned, McCarthy, Peterson, and Kingsbury, are probably safe, but some fans might be thinking otherwise.
Someone talked to me, and they were making a joke about Adam Gase turning his playbook in because the Jets wouldn't want him to use it against them. I'm like, who's going to hire him? Who's going to hire him? He's safe. Who's going to hire that guy? Coach Turner, you heard these 3 firings. Are you expecting something more?
It's hard to say for me because I told you I don't follow it that tight.
Right.
But there could be some playoff teams who don't go as far as they're supposed to go.
You think there may be a fallout there?
You could. I mean,
I could see that more than maybe even the ones who are now out.
Just imagine if Washington beats Tampa. Tom doesn't like the way things are.
How
with
far
Bruce.
does Tampa need to go, right?
How far do they need to go with all the pieces they put in? So there could be a few more. I'm with you too.
There's always with playoffs. There's always the opportunity that somebody else that doesn't win the game they're supposed to.
Right.
Somebody says, you know what, enough.
Okay.
And I think the greater question is it going to continue to be these coaches that are out, and are the right coordinators and the folks that deserve to be interviewed? Talking about Bieniemy from Kansas City and guys like that who deserve to be getting the interviews and being those next coaches. So
it's time for the new format NFL playoffs. Only the top team in each conference, Chiefs and Packers this year, get a bye, and now it's on to 2 days of triple headers in the NFL. It's win or go home beginning this Saturday. Which matchups are most intriguing in this upcoming super wildcard weekend, and what are your predictions for the playoffs? Let's go down the list. On Saturday, the triple header is Bills versus Colts, Seahawks versus Rams, and Washington versus the Bucks. On Sunday, you get Titans, Ravens, Saints, Bears, and Steelers, Browns. Coach Turner, what are you most looking forward to seeing, and where do you think the story behind the story is?
I'm staying at home.
All right.
I want to see those bookends.
Chase Young.
Meet.
Right.
At Tom Brady.
And Mr. Brady.
Chase already said he's coming to get him.
He did say that, but is he speaking? He's a rookie. Is he speaking a little too soon? Because Brady's savvy.
He ain't fast enough for those 2 bookends. He better get it off and get down.
All right. So that's what you want to see most.
Man, we're in. Records are out the door now.
Right.
We can talk all that big, NFC East with teams with lower wins than losses. Everybody's 0-0. I say it all the time in the WCAC. We get to the playoffs. Everybody makes the playoffs.
Win the final 3.
You got to win 3.
I have a question for you. We made the playoffs. We're happy about that.
Yeah.
But you know what's even better? You know who didn't make
Cowboys
it?
didn't make it.
And we beat them twice this year, baby.
Look, I was looking for Stephen Hayes' video.
Oh, you didn't see it today?
I didn't see it today. I haven't seen it yet.
He had a cigar and a black cowboy hat on. I followed you when I saw that.
I haven't seen it. I'm going to look for it when I get home tonight.
It's right on ESPN's website.
But I think there's going to be some surprises. Like Seahawks and Rams, that's going to be an interesting game in those Saturday games. I think that's the game that's going to be the most interesting.
I think the Rams are going to be out after this weekend.
In that one.
I was hoping that's who the Washington would get in that wild card was the Rams. Rather play them than the Bucks.
Seahawks look like they're kind of revving up
both
a
those,
little.
as they always do.
Both
they're
those
revving up a
teams,
little bit.
they are revving up, but I don't see that game as the premier.
No.
I think not the premier, but most intriguing. I don't think the Seahawks are the best team in the NFC.
Not even close.
The Packers are
far and away.
I would agree with you, but I'm just saying. I think of the 3
That's
games
this weekend,
3 games on Saturday.
right.
Next, I think Bills keep doing what you're doing.
That's a dangerous.
But that's the game that could be scary. But I still feel like our Washington football team, if the defense comes and does their thing and we can put a few points on the board, we can win that game.
Right. I think it's winnable. Yeah.
So looking at this, I want the Bills to win. I want the Bills to go far in the AFC.
Right.
Not only because your lovely wife Paula loves them so much, but it's just I just think the Buffalo fans.
The story is
great.
there, right?
It's there. Just the way they've built it and how just incredible it's been to kind of see them. But I said this in a few podcasts ago that it's games like this when you're a 2 seed and you're expected that you better be careful because the Colts aren't no
slouch.
No. Phillip Rivers, and they bring in Jacoby Brissett, and they got some running backs. They got a good defense. It's dangerous. They're not afraid to go up and play in the cold up there. Bills get through this one. They will be in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs.
And I'm not scared of the Chiefs.
Washington, I have a different feeling. I'm preparing myself to just not get upset.
I'm not going to be upset no matter what.
But I am so thankful for what you said to get one more week to watch those bookends, to see Chase and Montez Sweat. Montez Sweat is underrated. He is a total baller. Sunday's games, Titans-Ravens, a toss-up to me. I think outside of the quarterback play, I just think it's and they don't have a.
That's going to be a fun. I think that's going to be a fun game to watch.
Smash mouth, run, get after it.
I think the scariest game.
The Bears don't even. I don't know how the Bears got in.
But the scariest game.
Number 3.
Don't sleep on the Browns, man.
Do not sleep on the Browns.
So that one is super intriguing, but still, Baker just does stupid things sometimes.
He does.
Field that'll get them. That one that'll be a great way to sort of cap off.
You know what I want to see?
I haven't been excited for an NFL playoffs.
So you want to see Buffalo and Cleveland and those programs?
As I said to you before, like we talked about throughout the season, is that seeing some new faces.
That's always your thing.
That's right.
That's fun for me.
You know what I want to see? I want to see some Derrick Henry stiff arms. That's what I want to see.
Dude, he almost had another one this week.
He is pasting Bama's.
This one he threw it with it was more forearm than it was a stiff arm.
But he's launching dudes like 3-5 yards, right?
Can I go to something else on that?
Please.
Enough about Mahomes. Enough about Mr. Rodgers.
Okay.
2,000 yards, bro. He should be the MVP.
Derrick Henry, yeah.
Wrap it.
Yeah.
Enough.
2000
Enough about the
something.
quarterbacks.
But
We're always throwing the quarterbacks out for the MVP. This running back just did something special. Y'all need to start thinking about the votes a little differently this year.
What's up, Coach O'Neal?
Yeah, that was a question a couple weeks back in the podcast that you had brought up outside of the quarterback, who's the MVP. And we both were like, Derrick Henry.
Right.
Unbelievable. And to think him and Alvin Kamara were on the same roster at Alabama.
Wow.
A couple other backs, too. If you look at it, there was one year, there's about 5 professional football players, running backs on the roster there. Mm-hmm. But just those two alone is
that's sick.
Freaky sick.
What did the gentleman about 100 miles up 95 do for us yesterday? Did the Eagles gift Washington a playoff berth? Because look, I'm in here recording and I'm watching the game.
Both of us are doing everything we can to lose
it. We talked about fire. That alone should get him fired.
I texted my boy and I'm like, why is the backup quarterback in Philly?
What was crazy was just listening to the announcers because they couldn't figure out
I didn't have the sound on.
They couldn't. They were going back and forth like, why is he doing this? Like you're looking at Hurt, on the bench, and he's kind of like,
he doesn't know what's going on.
He doesn't know.
But what? I don't know.
That was mind blowing.
100% yes, they did us favors, but my man, Coach Rivera,
good.
I love what he said after the game. He's like, am I supposed to apologize to all of you for winning the game and us winning a division of a group of men in here? So I love the way Ron handled it.
Let's give him some credit, too. He had to play the quarterback carousel. He's got to hurt Alex Smith. He's got Dwayne Haskins, who's not showing up on time or early enough. He's beating cancer. He's got another quarterback who goes down mid-season with an ankle injury that ends his season, and he puts some pieces together. But I think it does go to show defense can help get you there. We're not winning games 34 to something. No. We're winning 17-14, things like that. So Rivera is, this is year one. I am excited about him. I love the fact that he's a man's man and that kind of thing. Coach Turner.
The only thing that's missing in this weekend was that the way that game did go down, I do wish the Cowboys had been waiting for us.
You wish they had won.
I wish they had won.
So that
they could cry even more like they always cry, and that Philly gave it away. The rivalry would be even more heated.
Did you see the tweets? The Giants were tweeting
They wouldn't
the
get off
Eagles,
that.
and they were like, "You have one job to do tonight, Philly, just one job." And the actual official New York Giants Twitter account tweeted, "Fly, Eagles, fly." We never thought we'd say this, but fly, Eagles, fly.
And then it progressively got worse, especially in that fourth
But I
quarter.
did see one of the players from the Giants tweet today, I think, something about not being mad at Philly. We're a 6-win team. That's what we should be mad about.
That's it. That's the end of the day.
There you
6-win team, and Washington is in, and we get to watch our boys.
They are in at 7-9.
time.
The national championship is now set in college football. An impressive Ohio State proved that they belong in the series that I said that I didn't think they belonged in by handling Clemson this past weekend 49-28. On the other side of the bracket, Alabama kept the tide rolling by defeating Notre Dame 31-14. What say you, gentlemen, come next Monday when we need to go ahead and record earlier so we're not sitting here during that game when the Buckeyes and Alabama square off for the national championship game?
It's Bama's to lose, 100%. But I remember having this conversation. That dude Fields was spectacular in the Clemson game. As much as it hurt because we've just joined this family of Clemson football, he was unbelievable in that game. And the hit he took, which
Got straight punished on that.
he got hit hard. And then the young man
kicked
was
the guy out.
ejected from the game, which again, look, he should know better. He's had those, but still, for him to get up and make some of the throws that he made was remarkable.
So we putting
But
money,
again, here we are, Ohio State, 6-7 games. Bama's played 12. And
are we putting money down if my boy goes to that game? Because my boy was at the game this past weekend.
where is the national championship game? It's down in Miami?
Where is it? I'll look it up right now. Steve, give us your take on
I
that game.
I think it is down there.
And then we're going to get to a familiar conversation. I'm going to give you your shine on that one.
I don't think this one is as clear cut as we're looking at.
I don't think it is.
And
Ohio State showed
I
you
say
something.
that is if Fields is healthy. Like that shot, he had to crack a rib.
Oh, yeah.
So that's my question now is how healthy will he be for the game? But I can say this, their tempo, that will cause anybody problems. And Bama better be ready because if he's healthy and they're running that tempo offense,
Teams
the
can
way they
score
did
in
against
Alabama.
Clemson,
Notre Dame clearly
and
couldn't.
that's the thing.
And that running back for Ohio State, he transferred. Where did he transfer from? I want to say it was an SEC school.
SEC school.
He's a dude.
Legit.
He's a dude.
He's legit.
And did you see the play where he tried to pretend like he had caught it, and he knew he didn't, or he was out of bounds, or whatever it was.
Is it Teague?
And they had the camera, and he just kind of looked up at the sky camera. He goes,
No,
What's his name?
it's
Chambers, McCall,
no number 8.
Williams, Johnson, Rossi. I'm just looking up a bunch of guys. Steve, talk to us. You don't like this format. Tell me what this weekend showed you about the format that you were like, oh, okay, or you further don't like it. Who's on the outside?
It still doesn't change it for me. The format. I mean, just because Ohio State won doesn't change that the format is broken, in my opinion.
Right. What do you want to
I
see?
mean, Ohio State plays a regular season. I know they were getting the booze because people didn't think they played enough games. But if they had played enough games, they still would have been in it.
I think the start, you go from 4 to 8. Mm-hmm. Clearly, the 1AA has it great with the 16 teams, and they have the whole bracket. But if you go to 1 to 8, you can take your Power 5 champions. So
Trey
Pac-12,
Sermon?
Yeah.
Trey Sermon? All right, I'll look him up.
Pac-12, Big 10, Big 12, SEC, ACC. Then you have a couple of those mid-majors a la Cincinnati or whoever it is. Not mid-majors, but you know what I mean.
Oklahoma's
And then
right
you have
there.
one more that you pick. You just got to find a way to get 8.
That would make it better for me, but
Then
the format of 4 just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
He played at University of Oklahoma.
That's it. He
Is
was
where
at
he played.
Oklahoma. Yep.
Peace out to Coastal Carolina. They showed that they didn't belong. I thought they belonged.
I disagree with
Hey,
you.
Cincinnati hung around a little bit.
Whatever. My Gators got their boots smoked.
They ever since
And
what
the
game
quarterback
was it that
rolled.
they blew.
They got
They
their
got
boots
smoked and he rolled out.
Yep.
He's gone.
All right, let's go to college and pro hoops. This year's national championship tournament, the big dance will be held entirely in Indiana.
Love it.
Clearly, this is a move that has an eye on preserving all games in a controlled bubble environment so that college basketball gets a full 68 teams, with all teams being on dedicated floors in hotels which are connected to the Indiana Convention Center. Dollar signs, baby. They're protecting that investment, aren't they?
no. I've heard it enough times that there is no way that there was not going to be an NCAA tournament.
Too much money.
And they just make sure that that's going to happen.
Because of the dollar signs. But think about the Ivy
Give me
League.
my March Madness, baby.
Think about the Ivies, though, and some of the schools that aren't going to get an opportunity to participate in that. And then I think of the other sports. And I know it's all about the money. But, I mean, you look all across in different sports that might not get the opportunity to compete.
I'm living it right now.
Yeah.
You're going to get an opportunity.
I hope so.
But I'm living it right now.
I want to prepare.
And I'm frustrated.
You have swim and dive. You have water polo. You have all these sports, that just cannot play. But the moneymakers are.
But I'm with you. But those sports don't survive if this doesn't happen.
Right.
Because that's the money that helps them stay alive.
Bingo, Jack. Whether it's supposed to or not.
Whether they're supposed to or not.
Yeah.
Like, to a certain degree, you got to sit back and say, you know what, thank you.
Right.
Because
football and basketball,
they may drop your program completely,
right?
If they don't have this tournament.
We've seen it happen.
Yep,
we've seen it happen.
If we don't have this tournament, those programs that maybe aren't getting the same shake or same opportunity,
right,
are benefiting
could still benefit because they could fold. It doesn't become just basketball money; that becomes school money,
right?
And that helps those programs be able to stay alive.
I like this format in Indiana. I know it's not going to be easy, but I'll tell you what, as a head coach,
I'm going to find a way to sneak in.
You best believe you don't want your players messing around, dilly-dallying, leading up to it.
No. Right. Next thing you know, you have contact tracing and 3 or 4 guys can't play.
Well, not coming in because they're all going to get tested. Everyone's going to have to get tested before they come in.
There will be rapid testing. Yes,
rapid test, get through it. But, I mean, just don't mess it up.
All right. The Duke women's program announced on Christmas Day that it was canceling the rest of its season because of COVID-19 concerns. Coach Kara Lawson in her first season leads the only Power 5 team to make this decision so far. Should we expect more teams on the men's or women's side to do the same?
It's hard to say.
I think you will see a couple.
Right.
I don't know that it'll be some of the big dogs.
Right.
I think a couple of big dogs right now would like to bury their head in
a
the
reset button?
You mean
either a reset or bury their head in the sand and then walk away.
You mean some teams that I didn't see in the top 25? Like, I don't know, Adolph Rupp's team?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't see them up there.
The question is, like, if those teams don't turn around, do they make it? And before they not make it,
that's like LSU
away.
That's like
so
LSU.
that they can save face and say, well, we decided
we've made it every single year, but the COVID year, of course, we didn't make it. But save that, because we had to shut the program down.
But I wouldn't be surprised that you see a couple more teams potentially walk away.
That's a good point.
Walk away. I just hope it's not some of the big dogs,
right,
so that this tournament can still be the best that it can be on the men and the women's side.
Moving over to the NBA, it's a long season, but what have we learned so far? 2 weeks in, the Bucks, Brooklyn, Miami, Houston, and Denver are all at 500 or below.
I think a couple things, especially for Brooklyn, probably Houston too. Can't say the same with the Bucks and Miami, but I think those teams are still figuring each other out, right?
Well, Brooklyn had that injury, ACL. What's his name?
Figuring each other out, and this is an off season like no other off season that these guys are used to, especially coming off for some of them.
Well, but you look at Brooklyn. Brooklyn had a heck of an off season. They didn't make it to the big dance. No, they did. I'm sorry.
That's my
they
point.
Did.
Where
Jared Allen was in there. Yeah, you're right.
They haven't had these that cohesive moments and times to kind of get used to each other. I mean,
they had 71 days off.
A snap of a finger before they take off.
Yeah. The Lakers had 71 days off from their final game 71 days off, and they're back in the gym. That's a little over 2 months. You want 3 to 4 months to, first of all, to go to Disney World, to do whatever, and then get your body back.
I mean, what's the Lakers record right now? 3-3?
I think we're 4-2. We're top 5-2, top in the division.
I mean, you look at all the different teams. It's too early. It's too early.
It's definitely too early to tell how this is affecting teams.
But I will notice, I think the players are enjoying themselves because obviously no fans in there, but seeing the sidelines and after watching the games I've been watching, the guys are into it. Everyone's having fun. So hopefully it's an awesome NBA season.
All right, that is our weekly sports wrap-up. We shall return after these messages from our advertisers. Winsight Media. Winsight delivers connections and intelligence to 4 of the fastest-growing verticals: convenience retailing, grocery businesses, restaurants, and non-commercial food service through broad and cutting-edge platforms. No company is better positioned to meet the food industry's needs than Winsight. Connect with us at www.winsightmedia.com.
We invite your questions, comments, and show ideas. Simply go to www.turnerandoneil.com and click Submit Your Idea.
Connect with us socially on Instagram and Facebook at Turner O'Neill Podcast, on Twitter at turneronpodcast, on YouTube, just search Turner and O'Neill, then subscribe. And of course, you can visit our website at www.turnerandoneil.com.
If you're looking to increase sales and gain exposure, advertising opportunities are available. Contact our producer, Kurtis Cross, today. Email turneroneillpodcast@gmail.com to get started.
The final word is brought to you by Insurance Alliance Group. Manages the gap between damage appraisal estimates from your insurance company and what you are rightfully owed based on your policy. They work on behalf of policyholders with claim assistance and disputes to maximize claims. Insurance Alliance Group serves as professional advisors and trusted advocates. The Insurance Alliance Group handles business and home property loss. Request a free claim review with the property loss professionals. Insurance Alliance Group. Visit us at insurancealliancegroup.com or call 866-574-4773. Portions of the podcast were previously recorded. Now, back to Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill. We are back, and now it's time for our final word, some thanks, and of course our weekly quote, which belongs this week to Coach Casey O'Neill. Become a friend of the program. To do so, go to www.turnerandoneil.com and click Become a Friend. We value our friends of the program, and of course, your contribution will get your name listed on our website and mentioned each week on the podcast. If you'd like to build your brand and get in front of more than 100,000 listeners, viewers, and our social media audience, this is the place you'll want to advertise. Become a donor, sponsor, or partner, and we will help grow your business in front of our audience. Contact me right here on the show, and we can get you started. We want you to follow, like, and add us on your social media accounts. Let's get social. Facebook and Instagram at Turner O'Neill Podcast. Twitter at Turn On Podcast. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill. So follow, like, and add. Spread the word. We are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, and more than 15 podcast platforms, plus YouTube. So listen to us wherever you consume your podcasts. Feel free to email your show questions, content ideas, comments, and critiques to turneroneillpodcast@gmail.com. Join the conversation, become part of the team as we are a growing community here at Take It To You with Turner and O'Neill. Before we sign off, a big thank you to DJ Krissy, our engineer. Thank you, Krissy.
Woo! You're welcome.
All right, Krissy, any parting words for our Season 2, Episode 1 audience?
Parting word. You know what? We had confetti today.
We did.
So that's good stuff. Makes me happy.
What are we going to do next week?
Oh, that has to be a surprise.
Can we have bottle rockets?
Probably not inside.
Okay. All right. Thanks to Paula, who helps curate this script, the starting five, and the content that gets cut along with the content we use. Thanks, Coach Turner and Coach O'Neill. Gentlemen, any final words, Coach Turner?
Let's go, Season 2. Let's just become even better. Season 1 I thought was great, but I'm excited for us to take this thing to new heights.
All right. Coach O'Neill, any final words before your weekly quote?
Excited to get Season 2 rolling. Had a great guest today, Mike Hunter. And again, I just think the product we collectively are putting out and the hard work you two put in behind the scenes all the time is it's unreal. So let's do this.
Actually, I have one more thing I want to throw in here before it maybe happens. Alex Smith, Comeback Player of the Year?
Has to be.
Oh, has to be.
Has to be.
Has to be. I just, I fingers crossed. I just think he's still a little ginger out there, and I hope we just are smart and protect him next week.
And on that note, did you see what his wife did with the? So he had this contraption on his leg
I saw that.
for
yeah,
months, and she made it into like a trophy, like a football trophy.
It's pretty
cool.
Cool. It was pretty cool. I saw the picture today.
I did not see that picture, but I heard about it. So thanks for bringing that into the fold. Our vote unanimously is Alex Smith for Comeback Player of the Year. Coach Casey O'Neill, the weekly quote is yours.
So my wife, Erica, has a favorite quote, and it is from the Bible, but I have my own quote. And I told her, you know what? I'm going to give you a shout out tonight, Erica. I'm going to use your quote from the Bible. It's the most used quote in the Bible, which is, do not be afraid. You are not alone. So with a lot of people going out there in the world right now, a little depressed, just remember that. Do not be afraid. You're not alone. My quote this week, thinking is the hardest work there is, which is probably the reason so few engage in it. That is from Henry Ford. So let's use our heads, everybody.
DJ Krissy, pull the plug.
Take a TO with Turner & O'Neill would like to thank our advertisers. Our premier partner, Ray Cruz and MCF Mortgage. Our partners, the Tamara Cusick Team, Dynamic DJ Entertainment, Healthy Baller, and Insurance Alliance Group, LLC. Our sponsors, O'Neill Development, LLC, Next Level Lacrosse, A Squared Home and Office Solutions, Collins Funeral Home, and Peace Players International. Our donors, Winsight Media, Gene the Barber, Body and Beyond Wellness, and Justin O'Neill. Take a TO with Turner & O'Neill is produced by Kurtis Cross and engineered by DJ Krissy. All material is the exclusive property of the podcast and may not be copied, rebroadcast, or used in any way without the written consent of the podcast. The views, ideas, and commentary of podcast guests are solely their own and not necessarily endorsed by the podcast. You may submit questions, podcast ideas, and commentary to turneroneillpodcast@gmail.com. No compensation is offered for submitted material. Should we choose to use your idea, comment, or question, you agree to your likeness, social media identity, and/or information being used on the podcast. Take a TO with Turner & O'Neill is recorded weekly and distributed via Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more than 15 podcast platforms in total. You can also view Take a TO with Turner & O'Neill weekly on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest episode drops. Some portions of the podcast may be pre-recorded. Join us socially on Facebook and Instagram at Turner O'Neill Podcast, on Twitter at Turn On Podcast, and on YouTube. Search Turner & O'Neill and subscribe. Our website is www.turnerando'neill.com. Advertising opportunities are available.